Hey everybody, Kenny Burchard here. Just jumping into the discussion a little bit about some recent news, as it were, about Cameron Bertuzzi, who runs a YouTube channel known as Capturing Christianity. He has over 150,000 subscribers, lots of video content. He interviews people from all kinds of different backgrounds and perspectives about essential Christianity or Christian themes. And he announced a couple of days ago that he is entering RCIA, the Rite of the Christian Initiation of Adults in the Catholic Church, because, according to his announcement video, he has come to the conviction that the biblical basis for the papacy is true. In other words, that the Bishop of Rome is the successor of St. Peter and is the pastor of the universal church, which is the Catholic Church. So, in simple terms, he has announced that he is on a journey into full communion with the Catholic Church. Now, as a former Protestant pastor myself who has become a Catholic, I just want to clear up here that Cameron hasn't, quote, become Catholic yet. From inside the Catholic Church, that's a process. You, in your heart, you can become Catholic. In your intentions, you can become Catholic. In lots of ways, you can become Catholic. But you finally and formally become Catholic when you are received into the Catholic Church by your priest and by the congregation through a formal entry into full communion. So there's still work that has to be done there for Cameron, but he has announced that he is on that journey that many of us have taken out of all kinds of different Protestant approaches to Christianity and into the fullness of the faith, which is the Catholic faith. I'm watching this, obviously, as someone who works with non-Catholics every day and who helps them on their journey into the Catholic faith. So this is really important and interesting to me as someone who's made this journey and whose work involves this process with people in central ways. And so I'm watching Cameron's discussions, but I'm also watching responses to what's happening to him. And there's a video now. It's not hugely not being watched, in huge numbers, but it is a response from another one of these many channels out there by people who are teaching true Christianity. This happens to be a guy whose YouTube channel is called Jon Adams Ministries, which is, by the way, a very Protestant thing to do. Name your ministry after yourself. But be that as it may, Jon Adams Ministries put out a video in which he critiques Cameron for his decision to embrace the church that Jesus founded, the Church of Jesus, which is the Catholic Church. He calls Cameron lazy, bored, etc., all kinds of things like that. And he responds to the video with his own critique. What's interesting to me is to read the comments under this video, which, as of the time of me recording this video, which I'm just throwing together, by the way, as of the time of the recording of this video, Jon Adams Ministries' response to Cameron's video has about 350 comments underneath it. If you go and watch it yourself, I think the video is called "Has Christianity Been Captured?" or something like that. And if you go and read the comments, around 350 of them, most of them, I haven't counted, but I'm just scrolling, probably 90% of the comments are from Catholics saying, "Yay, Cameron, welcome home to the Catholic Church." But one comment stood out to me. And I'm actually going to just read it word for word right here on this video and then throw it up, online, because it is so good it's written by a guy whose handle, whose YouTube handle is Lousy Protestant. We don't know who he is. He identifies himself in his comments as a seminary trained person, an expositor, a preacher, and as a convicted Protestant, someone who's not Catholic. But he has, I think, one of the best, most cogent responses to Jon Adams Ministries video. And it's something that I think captures a lot of what is happening in the minds of Protestants who are making the journey into full communion with the Catholic Church, because it's a very honest critique. If this is indeed a Protestant fellow, it's an honest critique of Protestantism from inside of it. And this is really often how it happens, that we make our journey because we begin being introspective about what's really going on inside of one of our many and varied and ever-increasing Protestantisms that are out there. And we go looking for the anchor point in the Christian faith. And what we've all discovered is that that's the Catholic Church. Be that as it may, Lousy Protestant provides a 2 or 3 page, if you drop it into Microsoft Word, which is what I've done, a 2 or 3 page response to Jon Adams Ministries' critique of Cameron Bertuzzi's decision to pursue full communion with the Catholic Church. So without further ado now, I'm going to step into the voice of Lousy Protestant without comment until the end. I'm just going to read his comment on Jon Adams Ministries' YouTube video. And here I go, reading now. Fellow Protestant here, I mean this in the most charitable way possible. So far, the responses to Cameron's conversion are not being thought through thoroughly. I say this as a Protestant Bible expositor and teacher. We will discount ourselves if we respond in caricature or straw man arguments. So, first, the pattern of Scripture is in fact God placing a singular figure or federal head or judge or priest over the body of Christ or his identified people. So perhaps we ought to better qualify our statement or objections. So if we just look at the Bible, we see it everywhere. So Adam, right? Check. Noah, check. Abraham, check. Moses, check. Joshua, check. Saul, Samuel, Judges, David, apostles, check and check. So we should argue our position, realizing the pattern is overwhelmingly reasonable, at the very least, at face value of the text. Our job or task is to defend the argument for discontinuity, if anything, and the shift in precedence for its erosion. Next, Protestants are leaving in part because we literally have the same scandals: fallen pastors, corruption, sexual abuse of all kinds, money being mishandled, etc., idolatry, except it comes in the form of self and big houses and nice cars. Not all, but some. Also, we have a lack of unity. For example, let's take a single conference, say a solid Ligonier conference. If we truly pressed the speakers to answer doctrinal questions, like say roughly 8 speakers, the answers would be completely different. I know this for a fact, trust me. Different interpretations on the end times, old earth versus new earth, baptism, sacraments, divorce, election, Mary, women, deacons, covenant theology, seminary, liturgy, etc. But then we say we have unity in the gospel. But let's be honest, we have unity in our presentation and in our elevator pitch, but we disagree on a lot, and I mean a whole lot. massive doctrinal positions that have huge gospel implications. We disagree on essentials. In fact, we have different versions of essentials, even disagreeing on whether or not we can lose our salvation. This is why people leave, brother. Not to mention our one guy over the Protestant church, Luther, would probably visit 99% of our churches and say, "What the heck is this?" And probably call us heretics. LOL. Let alone John Calvin, Bucer, or Knox coming in to visit. Sheesh, love Luther, but so many today would call him a heretic if they truly stuck to their statements of beliefs. I mean this in love, brother. Have you read the Augsburg Confessions or the Book of Concordia or the Anglican Book of Common Prayer, Old Confessions? He says the WCF or the 1689, Spurgeon, J.C. Ryle or the Puritans. These guys disagreed on a lot, and we ignore it. I mean, in some cases, it's literally night and day. They wrote about each other and lit each other up. Bro, if the Puritans visited, we'd be in trouble. Can you imagine Richard Baxter showing up to Matt Chandler's church? We'd all be in church discipline based on our liturgy alone. And if you just take time to read and read and read some more, you'll see we don't even look like our forefathers in terms of what they put forth for us as Protestants to adhere to. That's a problem which apparently we fixed. Keep reforming, it's been said. But as we do, what we are saying is that they were all wrong. We got to own it and work on our own problems and issues. People are leaving Protestant churches because Protestant pastors being charitable about Grand Canyon-sized gaps in core beliefs is no longer enough anymore. People are seeking and reading the church fathers, and they are reading our own reformational history, and it does not lend itself to what we have now. It guts me. But what do? No, everything is fine as long as we nailed and agree on justification, which some don't. I think we have to do better. That is, we have to do so much better. I say it in love, bro. The reason Reformed circles don't think we are hurting badly is because we've been conditioned to choose camps, Apollos or Paul type of thing. And depending on how much we disagree or agree with the other camp, determines whether or not we can do a conference together or share a pulpit. Does anyone else realize besides me that John MacArthur's exegesis on a wide range of theological issues is less than 50 years old? Again, if the Puritans, who we all love, were here, he'd be called out, honestly. We have fundamental issues. They are serious because there is a serious lack of unity. And we even made up terms to cover it up. Tier 1 issues or Tier 2 issues. Gospel coalition, unified on the gospel, or gospel unity. Why? Because we are not unified. So, as we look at Cameron, I'd say, let's look at our own front porch and have a much more adult and transparent dialogue. People are leaving, and they aren't leaving for statues, but because they see and experience disunity. Listen, there are plenty of Protestant seminary guys right now and men on staff who will not become Catholic only because they love their friends and they don't want drama or their wife to lose everything. They are being interviewed on the internet, by the way. They've built their Protestant careers and their livelihoods on our shared beliefs, and they would jump ship, but they're scared. I'm Protestant, and we have a lot of work to do. Close quote. Okay. I've got to hand it to Lousy Protestant for pointing out what, to me, became incredibly obvious when I was a non-Catholic pastor, seminarian, Christian, that there is no unity in Protestantism. The one thing the Protestant movement never created was one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church. It can't. All it can produce is many, 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 many churches with many voices in many theological camps, all saying the same thing. Well, I just use the Bible, which is itself proof that the idea of sola scriptura has proven to be the death knell of Protestantism, because everybody says they're only using the Bible, and almost all of them disagree on what the Bible means. So when you're like Cameron and you decide to go deep in history, to look at the church through the ages, through the centuries, over 2,000 years, there's one church that shows up in every photograph. You go all the way back to the beginning. Think of a photo album with a picture of the church at every age. And there's one church in every photo. It's the Catholic Church. Other churches, other pastors, other voices come and go. But the Catholic Church is there because it's the church that's founded upon the rock. I say to you, you are Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, said Jesus, and the gates of hell will not prevail against it. For my part, I pray for Cameron. I pray that he goes all the way through the rite of the Christian initiation of adults, that he becomes convinced in many, many other ways that the Catholic Church is telling him the truth about everything, the best he's ever heard it, and that he fully reconciles himself to all that the Catholic Church teaches and becomes a Catholic in full communion with the Catholic Church. I'm praying for him to continue that journey and go all the way through it. And if you're watching this, I encourage you to do the same thing and keep following Jesus and follow him right into the church that he founded, the Catholic Church. Okay, that's it for me. Have a great day. Bye-bye.